Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Triple Q podcast. This week, we have a special guest with us today. On his birthday, I'd like to welcome to the podcast our friend Nathan.
Hey, what's up? Hey.
We have the birthday boy here.
We have our first guest to this podcast, the birthday boy. So we know who Nathan is, but we'll introduce the rest of the people on the podcast today. I am Alan.
I am in.
I'm Harris.
And welcome back, boys.
Hey.
So a couple announcements before we start getting to the topics. I think we finally finalized our schedules. So podcast should be uploading Sunday night if we get everything in check. And we're going to try doing the stream again, or the live recordings, on Saturday, which is when we are recording this. It could either be a 10 a.m. stream, early morning, or 2 p.m. stream. What we could do, because some people in this podcast are not keen on waking up, what we could do is actually split up the sections. That gives us a lot more time to actually talk about some topics. But if we have a slow week, then we can just do the regular podcast that'll last not as long. So this week, just a quick overview of our topics. We're finally getting into our Karazhan expansion talk after skipping it last week. Overwatch, another slow week, but Min does have some stuff to talk about there. And another big week for League, just as we're heading into the rest of the boot camps. The group draws was last Saturday, which was recorded after our podcast recording for episode 4. So I'll start it off with Hearthstone, because we do have Nathan here. He does play quite a bit of Hearthstone along with the rest of us. So just a general question: how do you guys think Karazhan has affected Hearthstone in general, just as affecting the meta and the type of decks that you do see, as well as sort of some of the talks behind the team's design principles based on what they introduced with Karazhan? I'll throw it off to Harris because he has a couple points to say.
Alright, so how do I feel? I feel like some classes have been underrepresented, like priest, but they did get like redeemed a bit. And I'd say some, like, there's still a tier list, to be honest, about what's the best class from the expansion. Like, I'd say most of the 100 cards are pretty good, and then the priest cards are insane, but like in the opposite way. So like you got Purify. But Priest of the Feast was okay. Onyx Bishop was definitely good. Made a new archetype.
Alright, so if we're gonna go by it from class, we'll start off with the priest because Purify was a big thing. Wouldn't you say that because of the new cards in Karazhan, priest has come back though? Because there is a lot of decks with Priest of the Feast and Onyx Bishop that actually make the deck viable now.
Yeah, I'd say Priest is viable, but it's like not enough to make him like really top tier. That's what I'm trying to say.
True.
Yeah,
Definitely. From the expansion,
like Priest was
Priest
in a
did
worse
get-
state. Priest was in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
worse state. I'd say.
Exactly.
And then when the Karazhan came out, it's like a bandage, but like Priest needs way more than a bandage.
All right. I'm gonna throw it off to our warrior players in here. How do you guys feel about the new archetypes that have arisen with the new cards from Karazhan?
I personally don't think it's changed too much, aside from like not too many people run Fool's Bane. It's a pretty decent card, I'd say, but only certain decks would run it, not a lot of them.
I do think there is a neutral card that has revitalized one deck archetype, and I'm pretty sure it's Curator being included in the Dragon Warrior decks.
Oh
What do you
yeah,
guys think
that's
about Dragon
OP.
Warrior?
Dragon Warrior is super good.
Wait, Nathan, do you use the curator version of Dragon Warrior?
Actually, don't play Dragon Warrior. It's
Oh.
probably my
So there's
least. It's probably my
there's
least
there's
favorite version
a
of Warrior.
yeah there's a curator version as well as just including bookworm and maybe even um what was the other card?
Bookworm.
Uh,
Talking about
Nether
Warrior.
Spite Historian.
yeah, Nether Spite, Nether Spite.
Oh man, that's a slower version. I personally don't play a slower version of Dragon Warrior. I still keep the mid range. The curator did made it much more
I think
interesting.
the curator is much better for like the aggro version because you run
Monkeys.
Monkey, Fierce Monkey,
and also
Murgleton.
yeah.
Yeah, but at least from what I've seen, Dragon Warrior has come back and is the top tier deck currently right now, along with Aggro Shaman and maybe uh, Yogg Druid.
Yogg Malygos Druid.
Yep, that's another thing. With a lot of the more dragon centric cards that came up with Karazhan, people have been running Malygos again. Have you guys been seeing some of those decks as well?
I personally haven't seen
Maliog.
Magalogos.
Mag.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone play Malygos so far. Actually, I've seen like your typical token Druid, but I haven't seen anyone actually play Malygos yet.
Yeah, no,
I've actually seen
I've
a
personally
lot.
seen Maliog. It's
Yeah,
insane.
I think it's just a different win condition at that point.
Yeah, with arcane
We were talking
giants.
about this. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing. We were talking about this before the podcast, or before we go into the Arcane Giants.
Yeah.
Nathan brought up. Um, what did you bring up? It was the Malkazar.
Oh yeah,
So putting
Malygos.
Malkazar into your deck for the extra fatigue decks and extra control decks. What do you guys feel about that?
I've only
Because
uh,
yeah,
I've only seen that in Control Warrior, to be honest. I've never seen any other deck try and fit Malkazar.
I like it, but I think it's like too
random.
random to just casually put in any
Yeah,
decks because
exactly,
like
exactly.
it's like dead draws half the time if you get like a Lore Walker Cho or something because the odds of you getting a bad legendary is pretty high.
Yeah, because if we think about it, the legendaries in this expansion, I would say is not as good as the previous adventure. Like people are still running Reno, Sir Finley, and Elise, Rafam, but the Rafam of this, the Rafam of this expansion, I would say is the Prince Malkazar. It's a fun mechanic, but it's not reliable.
Either Malkazar or Moros.
I
Yeah,
personally like
Moros.
Moros.
Yeah, Harris,
Hey.
I think is the main Moros
Protect the
player.
Morose. It's the
Basically runs
ADC
the Paladin Moros.
Yeah, I played him
with
yesterday with
secret
that deck.
with the mysterious challenger.
I actually have Moros in my Dragon Priest. It's actually not that bad.
Dragon Priest. What?
Uh-huh. I have a Moros deck then.
I think putting a Divine Shield on it is good, but like
You're
with
not gonna buff it because it's
the
stealth.
popularity of warriors with the whirlwind effects is too much.
That's why I have Power Word Shield of Heart.
All right, so while we're still talking about neutrals, with this expansion, I would say that the other biggest addition would be the Arcane Giants being used in these spell-heavy decks. Like for example, I've seen it used in Freeze Mage or like the Reno mages that are still out there, but more so Tempo Mage and Yogg Druid as well.
I personally haven't seen it in Temple Mage because, like, the Temple Mage, no.
Oh, you haven't? I've
I've
seen it used in
seen
like
it.
sort of a, yeah,
I've seen it
in a
in
more damage version.
the Yogg Druid, Tempo Mage, and even some of that rogue. I've seen it in some rogue play too.
Oh yeah, Ethereal Rogue. We can talk about that next. Well, one thing I wanted to bring up is that do you guys remember the age of the Molten Giant and the Mountain Giant?
Oh,
More so the Molten Giant, which is why Blizzard nerfed it to 25
yep.
mana. So what do you guys feel about them bringing in the Arcane Giant now, a 12 mana, 1 mana reduction for each spell played that game? Wouldn't you say that that's an easier, almost condition of a fill compared to Molten Giant now? So they're sort of bringing back that sort of um, the thing that people hated back then, and they even nerfed, but they're bringing it back now.
You want to go first on this, or?
Let's have you go first because Nathan talked about Malcazar.
Personally speaking, it is kind of counterintuitive because when you're putting in Arcane Giant, you're gonna build around that deck. Just like how when you put in the Molten, you build around that. So like a Handlock or Mountain Mage or Giant Mage, sorry. So you purposely build around the deck. So I don't understand why would you make something such an easy minion to make 0 mana 8/8. There's so many times where I face a Druid or a Mage or Rogue and they just pull out 2 0 mana 8/8s and I'm just sitting there like, how the hell am I gonna remove that? So I don't understand why they actually did release Arcane Giant, but
See, the weird thing with that is like you said, these cards are cards that fulfill a certain role in your deck because they only have that certain condition to be filled, right? So, the weird thing is that you don't even have to build a deck around Arcane Giant because Arcane Giant is just a card that fits into an archetype that is more control and late game based because you're using all these spells. And then even if you look at the Ethereal Rogue decks, those decks don't even necessarily run that much. It's more so tempo and stealing cards from other classes, but it's still being run anyway, just because you're using more burgles, you're using more control to gain tempo before you actually use your Ethereal Peddler to get those combos out. So from what I'm seeing with Arcane Giant is that Arcane Giant actually has um, the capability of being put into just not one archetype but several archetypes that just use spells in general.
it just seems much more flexible than Molten. Not only that, but Arcane Giant. I'm trying to think. What mana is it cost efficient? 5 or 6? I'm assuming 5. It's definitely cost efficient,
Well, definitely, it's an
which
eight
is
eight.
7 mana.
If you
7
want to
spells.
do the baseline, then 8 mana 8/8 with taunt. That is um the treant in Druid. So
Mm-hmm.
say take 1 mana off for without taunt, maybe 7, even 6.
Like you don't even need to technically build around a deck with, because having 6 spells in a deck is pretty damn common. At least six
Exactly.
spells in any
And then
deck.
even then, in the old handlock decks, like say you drop down to how many mana was it? Um, if you guys can remember,
It was 10 HP for 0 mana for the Molten
10
Giant.
HP.
For
Yeah, so
0.
like it would be efficient already at like say like 14 or 15
Or
health.
15, yep.
And in a handlock where you're constantly drawing to get those cards for Mountain Giant and for Twilight Drake, I think you could get that easily, or almost like already like turn 6, depending on how the game's going. So it's just kind of weird to see Blizzard put this card in after seeing the response to Molten Giant being so, I guess, in their philosophy, being so bad. So just an interesting take on what they've already done with a previous card. So the next archetype the next class that we've been talking about the most is the Rogue class. Um, so have any of you guys been playing Rogue with the new cards that they introduce?
The only rogue I've played is the aggro rogue, where it takes cards, but also has Death Rattle. I haven't played like the stealing rogue, but I'm playing a more aggressive Death Rattle rogue. That's about it.
So you're just using the old Nazoth Rogue with the
It's I don't even have this off. It's like I have Swashbuckler, Thunder City Huckster, the 4 mana 1/1 Death Rattle 5/5,
oh okay
Shadowcaster. So
Twilight
literally
Summoner,
just
yeah.
aggro, but also have a bit of mid range.
Yeah, I've been playing the Stealing one, and it's actually a really fun deck. I think it's much more reliable now that you have another early game steal to help boost you in. Just because like Hunter City Huckster, you have to wait for it to die, and then Burgle, nothing really happens instantly if you're playing it on turn three. But I think it's pretty strong because Ethereal Peddler is a
What,
5/6 as
swashbuckler? Are
well
we talking about
as
swashbuckler or something?
Just rogue in
yeah.
general.
Oh,
But yeah.
well, swashbuckler is actually pretty good. Like the battle cry for a 1/1.
Mm-hmm. One
Yeah,
one. 1/1 and steal a card.
yeah. I say that's a pretty good one drop for roll.
It's good until like they do a more it's good depending on like who you're facing against. Cause like if you're against aggro, a 1/1 doesn't have much impact on the board.
Yeah, which is one of the main reasons why it's not played as much, just because a lot of the cards are more reactive as opposed to proactive. You really have to stall the game, which is why that deck uses a lot of removal spells to deal with the early game, so that you can last until the late game to use Ethereal Peddler to reduce all the cards that you have. Next, we have let's go with Hunter. So the big two in Hunter, I would say, is Cloaked Huntress and what's it called? Kindly Grandmother. What do you guys think about those two cards?
Nathan, you can start.
I actually haven't played any Secret Hunter. I've played a mid-range version with Kindly Grandmother in it, but I haven't played any like Hunter with secrets in it. I think it's pretty strong though that you can dump out a lot of secrets at once, and it pairs well with lock and load.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of
But
Lock and Yogg decks or Yogg and Load.
the problem with Cloaked Huntress decks are that there's like not any draw engines going on. So like you play all your secrets at once, and then your hand's just empty after that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is why I think they use the Lock and Load to help with that draw engine.
Hams, you wanna add on? Cause I don't play Hunter. I just face a lot of Hunter. So I can tell you something about facing against it, but not playing.
well, the thing with Hunter is that they always have strong minions on curve, like what Savannah Hyman, Call of the Wild Tornado. It's very, as I would say, like straightforward with what they do, and then they push for your face with the hero power. So, kindly grandmother is pretty sticky, I'd say.
Kindly Grandmother is basically a reverse Haunted Creeper
Yeah,
because you have the bigger body on board afterwards. People were unsure of how that was going to happen or how that was going to work into the meta, but I'm pretty sure from what we've seen, it's basically a standard in Hunter now.
yeah. I don't know about cloak hunters though. I mean, I did see it in early testing, like when that week came out, but like I don't see it anymore. Maybe yeah, because probably it was really inconsistent with the secrets and then running out of steam
I mean,
afterwards.
I did see enough of it to the point where in my Reno Mage I put Eater of Secrets or Secret Eater, whatever it's called. So I ran into it a lot. Not anymore.
Yeah, because that was like the first week, or like that was like the day it came out.
That was like the first week popularity thing that everyone wanted
I
to
feel like
try.
it went on for 2 weeks, or at least it felt like it. Holy shit! Now all I see is a mid-range hunter, where kindly grandmother gets hound mastered, and then I just cry on the inside.
Greetings, traveler.
I don't even think I run Houndmaster in my mid range deck.
What
I think I do the
Houndmaster is
slightly
a
more
really
secret.
good. Houndmaster is a really good four drop.
Yep.
In my mid-range deck, I actually have zero secrets in it. I just run
Yeah, I don't run any secrets either.
I run two Hound Masters
Yeah,
instead.
I
I
think
do
you're
the
running the
opposite.
most common mid-range
Yeah,
hunter deck.
I
I
don't
do
run
the
any
opposite
secrets
with that.
anymore. I run more early game drops for shaman because the hunter shaman matchup is pretty rough.
Yeah, for me, I think my tech was do the secrets and then play more of the removal game, and then play for the late game with Call of the Wild, Savannah, and Yogg. I think that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, for me, I've been doing hybrid hunter, which is like hybrid with
Yeah,
face, with Argent Squire, abusive, and the what's the 3 mana charge? Divine Shield,
Argent Horse Rider.
Argent Horse Rider. Yeah, like those kind of cards, because they're good to trade into. Like they're good for trading against the aggro, so you can sustain, it, and then they're just good with hunter.
yeah. It's basically just teching to what you're playing against.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this is a good transition to the staple card in Hunters. Both Hunters, which is Barnes.
Yep,
That
that's
that
another
has been
neutral that we
staple.
haven't talked about.
Yeah. It's also been a huge staple for Priest too, where it could be used in Resurrect Priest.
Yeah, Barnes is super good for my mid-range hunter. Like, if you can get out a high main through your Barnes on turn 4, you basically won the game right there.
Yeah, Barnes has basically been used as an engine to just draw out some of the later death rattle effects that you want earlier into the game, as well as just bring in a big minion so that you can use it to resurrect in priest.
Right. Have you guys seen Barnes Yasharaj Hunter?
Yeah, I've seen that the Druid variant.
I
I
conceded
think the
to
most I
that.
saw
I
it was
conceded to
just
that.
Tavern Brawl this week. I think that's the most I've seen it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
there's
that
speaking of
that's
Tower
cheese.
Brawl, I did see something very interesting where he used the Corrupted Deathwing, Barnes,
Yep,
and I forgot what the last card was. And he just
Innervate.
kept getting Interfate. He just
Yep, I
kept
think that
getting
was
That's
Deathwings.
nasty.
I think that was Kibler that ran that.
That was nasty.
Oh,
Wait,
yep, the
Deathwing or
corrupted
corrupted?
Deathwing where
Yeah, when it dies, right?
Oh.
And then you just drop all your dragons.
Yep,
Oh man.
that
I
was
think
funny.
yeah. For me, I actually ran the same
Ancient one.
thing,
I
but
thought you
instead
meant
of
the ancient one.
yeah ancient one. I ran ancient one.
Yeah.
I got it out on turn 4 because I had 2 innervates in my hand. Or no, no, it was turn 2. I can't remember, but basically I innervated enough so that I had 2 barns on the board at the same time, and they both took ancient one, and then they just instant conceded. I'm like, all right, thanks.
Greetings. My greetings.
So
Alright.
there is one class that we've touched upon but haven't really talked yet, and that is shaman. So I'm a big fan of shaman. I know Min isn't.
I hate
I
Sean.
Shaman for me is I mean back in the day it was one of those nice heroes. But nowadays
I like Shaman when it's not played in aggro.
Yes, that's a big thing. With shaman's cards, this expansion, I think the big winner, or I think the big 2 winners actually, is Maelstrom Portal as well as the Spirit Claws. So I can tell you what I feel about them because I think I played a lot more shaman this month because of that.
yeah, how does it fit in you go in aggro, right? You could put it in the aggro. Yeah, how does it go?
Yeah, so there are several decks with where they actually don't run what would you say, 4 mana 7/7 faceless, right? So they don't run faceless. Wait, is that what it is?
Yeah, faceless
Yeah,
manipulator.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
faceless.
Yep. So they don't run faceless, but they do run 2 spirit claws, and that helps you with the early game. Just because you have a potentially 3/3 weapon, and that can really help you with some of the deck archetypes going on right now, such as other shamans with tunnel trogs, as well as dragon warrior, um, and mana worm and stuff like that. Some of the early stuff that shaman really struggled against without the removal. And speaking of removal, they even added a better counter they had to some of the more aggro decks as well. As so they basically had the spirit clause, which does really well against the tempo decks, and they have Maelstrom Portal, which does really well against the aggro decks because it does 1 damage to all enemy minions for 2 mana. There's no overload, as well as summon a 1 mana minion for yourself as well. So theoretically, it's like a tempo change, um, and that could be used as early as turn 2, which is something that Shaman really wanted. Because even if you look at Lightning Storm, you can't really say it's an early game board clear just because you don't want to be down 2 mana on turn 4.
Do you happen to be playing the version with the Blood Mage Thalnos and the Azure
Yeah, that
Drakes?
was another point of or not contention, but a point of difference of some of these decks. Some people liked uh, putting Blood Mage Thalnos just because it's an easy combo. It's 2 mana, so then you can easily combo it on turn 4 for like 2 damage to every minion with Maelstrom Portal. Or turn 3, and then you can already have a guaranteed spell damage to buff your Spirit Claws. But at the same time, people don't like Blood Mage Thalnos because Azure Drake almost does the same thing, but with a bigger body an instant draw, which is useful especially for like top decking. Um, yeah, and with Thalnos, basically you have to wait. You either give up your spell damage, or you don't draw a card. But with Azure Drake, you get both instantly. So that's the main sort of thing. But I think it's appropriate based on the mana difference. I personally, the last time I ran it, I ran it with Thalnos as well as Azure Drake.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that these aggro shamans are playing a more mid-rangey
Yeah.
deck, I guess. With the Azure Drakes thing from below, taking out the Doom Hammer and the 4 mana 7/7.
Just because they can compete with the even faster decks at this point. Because I would say like Aggro Shaman before was one of the slower um, aggro decks, just because you have Overload to slow you down with your combo. I think that's it for Shaman. I think we're still missing a couple. Oh,
You guys talked about
yep,
Warlock yet when I crashed?
yep. Warlock. We haven't talked about Warlock. So the main tried to type of deck they tried to push with the new expansion is Discard Lock. Has anyone else been playing Discard Lock?
I've always been
Nope.
anti
I've
discard.
been turn 4 lethaled by them, but I haven't
Yep.
played it.
So I love Discard Lock. Or just like whenever like a new archetype comes out, I just love experimenting with it. Discard Lock has definitely brought me back to playing Zulok. I definitely climbed a lot of ranks playing Zulok. I've seen the full Discard Lock, and I don't like that deck. I use a semi discard to be the most efficient with my discards. So I only run I run a standard zoo, and the only discard cards I run are Silverware Golem, the Malkazar's Imp, the Librarian, I think is what's the
Yep,
2 mana
Darkshire
3/2.
Librarian.
Yeah, Darkshire Librarian, and Doomguard. I think I ran Soulfire at one point or another. I don't remember if I still have it, but the rest is basically standard zoo. Yeah.
Didn't try Succubus?
I did. I tried the full discard deck, and that included Succubus as well as Fist of Jiraxis, but I think it just wasn't reliable enough. Just because you'd be drawing, sometimes you'd just be drawing all the discard cards without the Malkazar's Imp and Silverware, so you couldn't really capitalize on discarding. But I like the more standard zoo deck just because it's a win more condition as well as a comeback condition.
Hmm.
As well.
I believe the one that you just listed was Sixo's deck list, or Sixo's
Is it?
discard loss. Yeah, and it's very similar to what you just explained. In which
Oh.
this version of discard lock I can get back on. I think that much. That one is better than the one that I first saw, which I always hated, which had the fix of Traxxas
Yeah, I
and
think
Succubus.
yeah. I think the full-on discard one is like you can literally get like a turn 2 lethal if you have perfect draws. But if you don't have perfect draws, you're just gonna be like
You're basically killing your whole deck.
tapping on for days.
My
Yeah.
analogy is it's an inconsistent zoo, but when you win hard, you just dump on them. But if you don't win hard, you just
Yeah.
get dumped. So pick your poison.
The zoo deck is much more reliable just because when you're tapping, you are more likely to get the just standard zoo cards as well. I think the only thing I took out was the forbidden
Ritual.
ritual, because that doesn't really, like, you don't really need that much boosting of your what's his name? I can't remember any card whenever we're doing podcasts. 3 mana
Dark
Shark
Shark
Councilman?
Councilman.
Councilman, yeah. Because you don't really need to boost that guy as much anymore, just because you do have the extra from if you ever do Silverware Golem when you discard those, and you don't really need that much power anymore, just because it's more tempo than aggro now, if that makes sense. Like, it's still aggro, but it's leaning towards the tempo more. I think all that's left now is. Oh wait, no. Okay, so we still have Paladin, Mage, and Druid. So let's.
So what did I miss?
Not
You
much.
missed not much. Or you just missed Rogue.
So we'll just.
Oh, no
I
big
think
deal.
we can just speed through this. Silver Moon Portal, used a little bit more in just tempo. It's not one of the best cards that have been added because it's not really used as much. It's used a lot in arena.
More of an arena
Yeah.
card. I was gonna say.
Most of the portal cards are arena cards. Ivory Knight. I've been using that a lot in
Murloc
Murloc Paladin.
Dragon Paladin was season. It's just a really good
Yeah.
card. That card
Yeah,
is
it's just
just
a card
really
Yeah.
damn good.
Yeah, just because people were slacking on it, just because there's a higher chance to just grab secrets, but at the same time, it's Discover, so there is possibility of
Big heals.
getting a game-changing card.
Nah.
Literally, getting 3 secrets is 5%.
Yeah, I run
Yeah.
Ivory Knight in anything can happen Paladin.
Yeah, Murloc Paladin.
Yeah.
So 30.
It's good when you get the extra anyfin, but I don't feel like I've really needed it that
Yeah.
often.
Usually, I'll take it for like
Extra
extra
heals.
heals. Like I'll draw
Or
like
Card draw.
what's it called? Lay on Hands, and then a Lay on Hands the next turn.
Yeah.
That's dirty.
I'm pretty sure that 24 damage is enough. Okay.
Yeah,
Freaking
the
any
thing
fin.
the thing with that though, do you guys still run Forbidden Healing? Because I still run one.
I still run one. Yeah.
I run
Having
one.
one is very
Yeah.
good.
And then lastly, Dragon Paladin now has Nightbane. I think it's really good. It just curves out into the later dragons more.
Yeah, I think it
I like Dragon Paladin.
is Blackrock Technician as a 3-drop.
Yeah, you don't even need Blackrock anymore just because you have the stats split into 3 bodies rather than just the one.
Yeah, but the only counter I feel is Ravaging Ghoul, which is like a bad matchup because your whelps get wrecked.
In which I do want to say something, which is Brian Kibler's deck list doesn't even run a single Nightbane Templar.
Oh, okay.
He
Whoa.
runs a Blackwind Technician.
Whoa, really?
I think it depends on the tech as well as your playstyle.
Your
Yeah.
matchups too.
Might even run one of each or something. Not that
He
bad.
was running one of each, but recently he teched out the Nightbane Templar, Loot Hoarder, Frey Dragon for double Pyromancer inequality, which means he's
Yeah,
running
that-
into more control matchups.
That means he's done
Yeah.
losing to Dragon Warrior. Because he basically took out the 1 mana or the 1 health
Mhm.
possibilities. And he's doing more clear with the equality. We just said the name. I forgot it already.
Well, Pyromancer.
Paramancer. Oh my goodness.
Oh, glad your memory's good.
And we can speed along some more. Firelands Portal. I've seen it used with only 1 because you only need the 1 to flip tempo. Medivh's Valet. I have seen that in Freeze because you run secrets in Freeze.
I also run it in my Reno.
Oh, you do?
mage.
Oh yeah, Reno. The late game
Yep.
ones. In tempo, not so much because I mainly play tempo. Babbling Book. Good standard card.
Yeah, it's a good card.
It's very, very good. And all mage decks run it except for
Yep.
freeze, I think.
Yeah, because Freeze already has, I think, the most spells.
Oh, and don't forget about Medivh.
Yep, I like Medivh a
Mage.
lot.
Oh yeah, Medivh
in
as
my
well.
Reno.
I haven't run Medivh yet because I already have the Yogg and Antonitis. I don't see it being teched because I already have the win conditions, but I think it does favor the more late game mage decks because you are both running Reno.
Yeah, if you have Medivh and then you Firelands
Yeah.
Portal, you
You
summon
get
2
7
minions.
mana minion and a
Very
5
good.
mana
So
minion.
good.
Oh,
It
literally
has
my
a
favorite
value.
combo.
And then you clear him at someone else's
Flame
minion.
No, what do you
Strike.
mean? You just
So
hit
good.
your own face for BM. Kappa.
Speaking of a portal hitting your own face, we can go into Druid now with Moonland Portal
Hey.
or Moonglade Portal. I actually ran Moonglade Portal in my Yogg Druid deck, and it is very useful for healing yourself and staying in the game, as well as just healing your Ancient of War.
I'm pretty sure that Malagos Druid has a Moonglade portal, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait, what 6 cost minions can you summon anyway?
Sylvanas,
I
Karen.
summoned a
Karen.
Cairn.
Actually, six
Thorzen.
drops are like one of the best drops in
Yep,
the game.
6
along
and
with the
8 drops, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll usually,
that
on average, you get a
Karen,
5/5,
Thorzen.
like a 5/5 minion with stats.
I have drawn
Yeah.
what's that Murloc card that deals 2 damage to non-Murlocs?
Corrupted
I'm-
Sphere.
Oh,
Corrupted
Corrupted
Seer,
Seer
yeah.
2-3.
I've drawn that and I felt bad. And
Or no, I got a Moat Lurker, which is almost just as
Yeah.
bad.
Hey, at least it's a 3/3 body.
and then the last two is for the archetype they were trying to push with Druid this time, which was Beast Druid, which definitely saw a lot of play at the beginning of the release expansion, but now not so much. Enchanted Raven was a good card to help curve them out, especially with Mark of Asheraj. But Menagerie Warden was mainly used to combo with Strangletorn Tiger, which did make a comeback with Beast Druid. What do you guys think about those two
If
cards?
Druid had, I think it would be played a lot more if Druid had a better clear.
Or card draw.
But with the lack of, yeah, one of those two. But Druid has neither, so
Well, Druid does have that, just in a different deck type.
yeah. Like Nourish is too slow to run in
Beast
a
Druid.
more aggro style deck in Beast Druid.
And then by the time,
Yeah.
and Swipe's not insanely strong for clear compared to, say, Equality Consecrator or Brawl or.
Yeah, especially in Druid where you don't really run as much spell damage because you just run the Azure Drake. And I think we've made it through. So last thoughts on Karazhan. I'm gonna run down the list. What is your favorite card in the expansion, as well as your favorite new deck that has come out? Let's start with our guest today, Nathan.
Huh, my favorite card. Let me look.
He doesn't have one then.
I I I I like Arcane Giant. I feel like, no, I don't think it's my favorite though. Like it's good, but it's just not that fun.
All right, if you don't have a favorite, what's your favorite new deck to come out of this?
I was playing a lot of Resurrect Priest actually. Yeah, I climbed a lot of it with it right when it came out, and I really enjoyed it. If we're talking about favorite card though, I think Firelands Portal is pretty fun
All right,
to play around
there we
with.
go. Firelands Portal and Resurrect Priest coming back. What about you, Min?
I have too many cards that I like. I can tell you my 3 favorites from it. One's
I'm Min bending the rules. Let's do this.
I like it. Medivh, Bookworm, and Netherspite Historian. I just like Medivh and my Reno Mage, and I like the 2 Dragon editions, Netherspite Historian and Bookworm, to bring back the Dragon decks, which I've always liked ever since Blackrock Mountain. So that's the reason why I like those 3. My favorite deck though is Reno Mage.
Does Bookworm really play that often though? Like I feel like it's a really good card because it's 3 or less, but the stats on it.
I have
is
seen
not
it
that
played a
great.
lot.
Bookworm I've played. I've used in almost every Dragon deck except Warrior.
Yeah, I've seen it played a lot just because like it counters a lot of the meta right now too.
There's a lot of 3-mana stuff.
Yeah, basically Shadowward Pain
Yeah,
With a body.
with a minion.
with a body, 6 mana.
All right. So we heard it from Min. He likes Reno Mage as well as Dragon decks, judging from his favorite cards and favorite deck. What about you, Harris?
Well, like for me, I don't. My favorite card, I don't really use it in my favorite deck. I just like it because, well, my favorite card is Morose. The design, like that guy looks so high. Like check out his card design. That guy looks funny AF. But he's really like he's not really a good card. But he's my favorite card out of the expansion. Purely out of entertainment wise. Favorite deck, uh, with the addition with Barnes and Ivory Knight, my favorite is definitely Murloc Paladin. Any fin can happen Paladin. Only because you play off your own win condition and it's like Exodia. You gotta get your blue fins out, your Murloc leaders, and then your Doomsayers, and then your any fin can happen, and that's your Exodia. You just win. I like it. You play off your own win condition. It's like that combo warrior where you play off your own win condition and you just try and sustain your opponent.
I love that deck. OTK Warrior.
Yeah.
No, the only reason I actually considered playing 2 Entombs is because of that Anyfin. By Entomb both your war leaders, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
wow.
that's the only reason
or
why. Yeah,
polymorph
that's the
them.
only reason why I ran Hex in my Shaman deck as well.
God damn.
I don't know if you guys are watching the most recent tournament. It was like Firebat hosted a
The
tournament,
Yeah,
right?
Batstone,
Batstone.
Batstone.
Yep.
I
And
watched it.
Hearthstone.
there's this huge like ban list, and some I think it was Chalky and some other players put a anti anyfin
Yep.
um paladin with the thing that changes your hero power to summoning murlocs instead of thing.
That way, yeah,
I
Just
that
never
way it
thought
fills up
about
the
that.
yeah,
mana.
That's actually pretty good.
it was hilarious actually.
I've actually never thought about that.
So maybe you should tech it in if you're playing against them
It
a
is an
lot.
epic though, so if you
That
don't
also
have it,
requires me
then
to have Paladin.
yeah. For me, I don't know. This expansion has been really fun just because I can try out so many new decks. I played a lot of Resurrect Priest, Secret Hunter, as well as Stealing Rogue. Um, I think my favorite card from this would have to be um, Swashbuckler, though, just because I like that deck so much, and it just adds a lot to that deck.
Mr. Steal Your
Um,
Girl, Steal Your Girl Rogue.
yeah, and as an addition to that, Ethereal Peddler as well. On top of that, as well as my favorite deck being Discard Lock, just because I love Warlock back when I used to play Handlock and Zoolock. Handlock is really out of favor now. Um, Zoolock and Dragonlock are basically the only two decks you can reliably play now after their changes, and I just like having um, Discard Lock being played again. So I guess Silverware Golem as my top three for a card as well. So that is that. Um, I think overall, for the four of us, it's been a good expansion. Um, may not be as well, actually I can't remember how good League of Explorers was, but I think it's a good expansion. What about you guys?
I just like the Solar Venture of League of Explorers. It was kind of fun.
Yeah,
Ran one was really fun to play.
the chess one in this one though was pretty good. Okay, and I think that is it for our Karazhan uh, discussion. I think we can move on to Overwatch now because there's not as much topics for that this week. Again, it's been a slow week for Overwatch. So why don't we hand it over to Min for that?
Ooh, moving from a Blizzard game to another Blizzard game. Alright. So, there are a couple things I do want to touch on. One is we do know 4 out of the 6 teams who's going to go to the European World Cup for EU. And Finland, France, Russia, and Spain are the ones that are able to move on. And the 2 other teams remaining will either be Germany or Iceland, or Sweden or Italy. Those start facing off. I forget when they play, but they play today and tomorrow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's kind of weird just like thinking about who we know is guaranteed, because I'm pretty sure you could include Sweden in that list as well, unless they choke really hard.
Who knows? I've seen a lot of upsets already, so other than I feel like Germany is pretty damn good, but then
Who did Who did
Italy,
we say was I think Italy upset our
Italy
predictions
was
because
pretty good.
we said Sweden was definitely going. I think we said Spain as well.
Yep,
We did CIS, right?
yep, I did Russia. But Baltic
Um,
losing this, Baltic had to
yeah,
face
Baltic.
against Spain. That was just
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
Baltic was our prediction as well for moving on. But I guess it just how the bracket turned out to be.
Hmm. But yeah, that's something I want to touch on. The other thing that actually I want to go more in depth is we had a hero tier list of the competitive teams. So pro play, and now there's no more S tier. Before this meta, there was an S tier between Lucio and Zenyatta,
So
which
Min,
means it was a 95% usage rate.
so Min, are you? Would you say we're in an okay balanced state right now in the meta, where a lot of things are playable?
I still feel like the defensive heroes still need a buff, such as Junkrat, Widow, Torb, or Bastion, because those are
Never
in the
played.
F tier, less than 5% use. Same with Soldier and Symmetra. Symmetra really needs a whole overhaul of her kit. She's just so useless.
Especially with how it is right now. I guess they tried to see if the changes to competitive would help her out, but even then, it's still a bit too fast for her. Like you're not gonna reliably get the Symmetra down to help defense because that's May's job basically at this point.
Oh, especially not with the new meta, which is a 3-3 meta that I've been seeing, the 3 tanks and 3 supports. Good luck. You're not gonna go through
What
anything.
One thing I wanted to add though is that before the tier list we're talking about now, there was actually a point in time where there was no S tier, and the A tier did not happen as well, and Lucio and Zenyatta were both in B tier because they were being used equally as well when people were trying out Mercy and Anna as well. So there was one transition from the double S tier to where we are now, where there actually was no S tier or A tier, which is interesting to me.
Speaking of supports, back when we did was it episode 2 where I called every healer was viable. Looking at these numbers now, I think my statement is still true. Where C tier is Anna and Mercy, so balanced heroes, but they do get swapped around a lot. And A tier is Lucio alone, with B tier with Zenyatta.
I think it
So,
just goes to show the different kinds of heals make a difference.
mm-hmm.
Just because you do need that AoE heal, but if you require more point healing, you do have Anna. I mean, you do have Mercy, and then for more of the debuffs, you have Zenyatta and Anna as well.
You
So
also
it's
have Anna to
yeah,
make a tank a DPS. Just so
it's
damn
basically
strong.
just reflective of the maps that pros play.
Quite honestly, in solo queue, if I press Q on Harris and he plays Reinhardt, he's just gonna kill like 3-4 people. I think it's
And then
so
get
hard to stop.
Mercy rezzed. Ah.
What's more like I press Q on Harris and then you shield him so he doesn't get put to sleep.
And
I've seen so many Anna charges just shut down by Anna.
the sleep dart, yep. But on the other note, Soldier is still unplayed thanks to McCree being so good. And you usually just swap around the hit scans, and rarely do you see double hit scan. So that's the reason Soldier is never played.
Just
This,
because Pharah itself is like such a specialized role,
yeah,
unless you have like a really good and specialized Pharah player, you're not gonna really need the 2 hit scan.
yeah Pharaoh's also. D tier.
Feels bad, man, Farah.
Pharaoh's not going to be played too much, especially not pros.
Feels bad.
Diva is still on the D tier. May rolls up from F tier.
Oh jeez, yeah, I've seen those gifs of Maze in the tournament.
May's actually seeing play in
Yep.
comp
Yeah,
right
I've
now.
been
My team uses May a lot.
like people are
I think
yeah.
the comp for May is, um, you replace one DPS with May,
Mm-hmm.
or you replace, and I've actually seen a much even beefier lineup with 3 tank, 1 May, 2 support.
Yep.
Which is like ridiculous
Yeah.
to play against.
Also, the May, like a lot of people are using May to like go to new places, like innovating,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
insane. It's just such a sick thing to see. It shocks me every time.
I like the
Yeah,
Hanamura,
and
the
the other ones
Hanamura
like
rush.
there's like other
It's not even
shortcuts.
innovating. It's just like
Shock
because
value,
there's so much
shock
May.
value.
No, because there's so much May. There's a lot of anti-May paths now.
Yeah,
So like without May being played, you're not gonna see these May plays.
yeah. You need May to get to these points.
But to be fair, May being played is kind of unsurprising, I guess, thanks to her being buffed. Not only that, but
As
her
well as
wall is
stopwatch.
just makes an environment. So if anyone played StarCraft too, it's like a sentry where you just block off an entrance or like wall off a place, and then you're playing in a more enclosed area or just isolating people.
May is
That's
May.
just a
Yeah, I think
May is
huge
May.
use for me.
everything just lined up where May is really strong now, with them making snowballing much more important with how less time you have with overtime, especially on like capture point maps and such. Just having the stall in May being buffed at the same time. It's just sort of like a recipe for like including Mei, which I think is the direction they should be going for defense.
Oh, but in solo queue, I still hate Mei a lot because I know what we're gonna have. We're gonna have someone's
Mei
gonna
is
be
trying to make
ulting,
plays.
wall right in front of you. Nice.
Yep.
So I hate Mei in solo queue still, but in team play, I'm more accepting to it. Only in team play.
Yeah, I've had in my team hold Li Zhang quite well with Mei, as well as capture point maps as well. Um, Payload, not so much, just because you do have like just you just run standard and payload. It's just like the most efficient way, unless you do three support, three tank. Um,
You
but yeah,
can
Mei
run
has
Mei
come
on
back.
Dorado though. That little
Yeah, the first arch. Holy
yeah,
shit.
that's cancer. I've seen
Oh
Mei
man.
there.
May and
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
Dorado.
first
first
point. You know the
arch.
arch.
Um,
Damn.
so like where the Junkrats hold it
Mm-hmm.
really well as well.
But you
Hmm.
you either have a solo tank, so you have the Mei and the Junkrat, or you just give up the Junkrat for the Mei. But you still have a huge choke, or you just have a Reinhardt charge in, 300 damage, and then just
Yeah,
swing.
it basically comes down to is your tank able to solo? Because if you are, then just run the Mei Junkrat. It's devastating on that,
I feel like it's possible to solo tank.
especially on Dorado. Like not that much um, is going on with defense because they can just keep the high ground so well.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of payload, though, there were changes to Eichenwald this week, man.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll lay down the changes. They basically they made the payload move faster, right?
Yes.
To
I wish I
combat.
had time where I could test the pre-payload push and the post-payload push, but I don't have the exact numbers. But they did make it push faster, which should
In
help.
just
Yep, only
Eichenwald?
I can vote.
But here's a question: does that fix
Oh.
the defense problem, the attacking problem with the
Yeah,
payload
so an
speed?
interesting post
Yeah.
for Kaplan. Kaplan released an interesting post responding to it regarding data again. So, like we said,
Yeah. He brought out
uh,
stats, right? Oh, yeah.
yeah, episodes ago, they they're basically gonna balance based on their findings, which is what we were talking about, and the the info that they received is that I think they said somewhere along the lines of 75% to 85%. I may be wrong on that. I'm just sort of remembering off the top of my head, but somewhere along there, uh, that percentage of games played on Eichenwald, point A is captured. Now the hard part is getting the payload all the way to the end, right? Now, the thing is, I don't know if that is a result of point A being so hard to capture, you just don't have enough time to move the payload, or maybe it's actually the payload itself. Again, we're not the developers of the game. We don't actually see all this data, but that is their remedy to alleviate the situation right now, and that's to move payload faster.
It's definitely because point A is very hard to push. It requires a very specific comp to push in, and not only that, it requires a lot of coordination to push in. So the defending team will always have the advantage. So point A is really hard to push, and it will take up a bulk of your time. So the payload moving faster does compensate a bit for that time. I don't know if it'll still be that point A full holds are gonna be the norm still, but it does help out the attacking team a bit, which they really needed, because that map is so hard to attack.
Yeah, because the only way I could see they actually fully change, the way they fully change how it is right now is changing how point A is approached. Just because if you look at, we already had this discussion on Eichenwald, um, in our previous episode, but it's the same point where, basically, if you look at Numbani, if you look at Kings Row and Hollywood, there are several paths to as opposed to the main choke, right? You
Yep.
have security room in Hollywood as well as um, the arch in Hollywood itself is high, so the choke itself isn't as confined as Eichenwald. Kings Row, you can go through theater or you can go through choke and go back through hotel or alleyway, and even just like past statue. And then on Numbani, you can loop around in the back, you can go through main, or you can go through bottom health pack, or go through top left, right? So like in each of those, you have at least like two different paths to go, or even three. And if you look at Eichenwald, basically they have you can go through the choke, or you can try going above. But even then, not every hero is going to be able to come above, especially the tanks, unless you're running D.Va and Winston, which you're not going to do to try and help push Eichenwald.
Yeah, they going above requires a very specific comp, and
I've
half
seen,
the supports can't make it. Zen and Ana can't make it.
yeah, I've seen some posts where basically the main way to do it is to rework that first area, and you'd have to remove some models that are there, like say like one building, or rework a building so that it has a path to go through as well. But with how they have it set up now, it's not going to be an easy change. So I think the payload is basically like a temporary fix uh, to help alleviate the situation with how players are feeling discontent playing that map.
I still hate Eichenwald, so that's the thing. But yeah, I
It's got nice scenery.
yeah, it is
Yeah,
a
it is
pretty
a
map.
beautiful map.
Yep.
And the payload section of the map is actually really good because they achieved playing with height, which is one of the main goals with having such high castles and such, and it achieves how they are doing it thematically with that map. But if you look at the first point, they're not really playing with height there. Um, that could be a way to fix it. Maybe add a second route that is based on height, right? It's as well as going through the choke. But as of right now, I don't see how they could easily fix that.
Maybe either lower building or make it so could go a convoluted way up the building and go out the building. That will also
Yeah,
work. Just give me a second way in. That's all I really want. God damn. Pushing choke in is like nightmare feel. But that does bring up the big topics. There is a tournament that I do want to point out that is worth watching, and that's the APAC Premier Chinese main qualifier. So this is the first time we'll ever see the Chinese teams actually properly come in into an actual tournament.
Hey, represent.
another big news point with esports, league casters for the LCK or Korean League of Legends. Um, they have basically made an Overwatch division now for LCK, with Korea hosting Overwatch League now, and Doa and Monty will be in charge of casting that as well.
Can't wait to see Monty talk really fast when the action starts. That'll be funny.
The
Yep.
OGN stuff.
Yeah, we're yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my last topic I want to talk about is OGN is launching a league version. And the
Uh,
details for this is well, I don't want to go through the prize pool. No one cares about that. Anyways, the detail is it'll feature 16 teams, 12 will be from Korea. It will be determined between online and offline qualifiers, and 4 international teams from NA or EU. So this reminds me of the very old OGN style
For
for
league,
league,
the
essentially.
CLG came in,
Yep, CLG EU was there. So that would
as
be
well
really
as
fun to
NA.
watch.
Yep.
So we're finally seeing Overwatch growing as a scene in both China and Korea at the same time as NA and EU.
It's nice to see China getting back into a game since they've primarily League and Dota. They never really got too into
yeah,
CS:GO.
They're too
can't
late in
wait. I
CSGO,
can't wait to see
sadly.
them in Overwatch. See what they pull out.
Only May.
Hey,
Six
May
Mays,
is
only
May.
Lijiang Tower.
Can't beat the Chinese in Lijiang, dude. They know that place in and out.
Oh man. But that does conclude the Overwatch section. That's about it for Overwatch news. Kind of slow. Oh, actually, wait. There is one more thing that I want to touch on. That is they revealed the competitive points. So you need to reach Grandmaster if you want that golden gun. Essentially.
Yeah, feels bad, man. Feels
Hey, I don't mind. I'm getting
bad.
my golden gun. I like it.
I'm not getting mine probably. Probably get to like diamond
You
at
can
the
build the
most.
points. Diamond is 16, 1200, 1200, I think.
1200, which
Not
doesn't
enough.
make sense
Should be
because plat
16.
is 800. So why would diamond not be 1600? Why is it 1200? That doesn't make any sense.
It was doubling before diamond. And then once it gets to diamond, they're like, oh, no, I don't want to double anymore.
It's 100, 200, 400, 800. No, not 1200. 1600, Blizzard. Get that right.
OCD triggered.
But now that's it for Overwatch news.
Yeah. So we have been going for an hour, and we do have our special guest here, Nathan. He doesn't really play League as much.
He doesn't
all.
play
At
at
all.
all.
Yeah.
At all.
So what I'm thinking is, group draw results and predictions don't really matter as much. Time-wise, we can do those as well as discuss our picks in sort of like a part 2 to this episode, or a supplementary part of this episode, which unfortunately we aren't able to record today. So I think the best way to go forward with this is to actually just do a two-parter for this week, have a group draw episode as well, and we can do most of the prediction talk as well as just reaction to the group draw or the live group draws as well. Maybe that can be a Sunday stream as well if we can find the time as well. What do you guys think about that?
That's if I have the time for it. I do have a tournament on Sunday.
We can make the time for it. It'd probably be 30, 45-minute discussion, depending on how long we talk about for League, because we usually talk about that news point the most, just because everything's ramping up to Worlds and there's a lot of news as well. So I think that is the coverage we have for now. Again, some announcements. Like I said at the top of the show, we are starting to be more streamlined now with the type of schedule we're running at. Hopefully, our schedule will let us continue this weekly format of streaming on Saturday and uploading on Sunday onto YouTube. I'll be streaming still from my personal Twitch channel, and the YouTube. If you listen to this, you probably already know, but you can find that at youtube.com/triple Q podcast.
Hey.
No spaces. Yeah, so you just subscribe to the YouTube channel to catch every week's episode when it gets uploaded on Sunday. So you have something to listen to during the week. The main goal of this podcast is to cover news from topics that we enjoy. And an additional announcement is that we are going to try and do the supplemental addition to this podcast, to this week's episode, which is the World's reaction. There isn't a lot of other League news, so it's basically just going to be the one-off focusing on World's news so far. And with guests like Nathan, we have a lot more freedom to do one-off topics as well. I've been talking with Nathan, and it'd be cool to do other gaming news as well, such as Pokemon, because we do play Pokemon
Hey,
a
me
lot.
too.
Hell
With
yeah.
Hell
this
yeah.
group.
Hell yeah.
But with those topics, it's more so appropriate to have it as a one-off thing, just because you're not gonna have weekly updates for Pokemon.
Speaking about that,
Just-
speaking about Pokemon,
just
that
'cause.
that new anime trailer. But we'll go into that another time.
All right. Any last words from you guys? I want to hear it from Nathan first. First time joining us, episode 5. We'll be happy to have him again, commentating on Hearthstone and Overwatch, as well as other games as well. So what do you think about being here for the first time?
Oh, I'll be happy to come again. Actually, it's pretty interesting talking about Hearthstone and Overwatch. You know,
Hey,
it was enjoyable, except for the crash I had in the middle. That was not fun.
All right. Harris finally made it to the end of one of these.
hey,
What do you have to say,
let's get a
Harris?
celebration. Woo!
Nice old fat clap.
Nathan, why did you say that?
So Harris finally made it, which is one of the reasons why we are doing the recordings on Saturdays now, just so he's able to do this. What do you have to say?
I just want to say, first off, happy birthday, Nathan. It's the man's birthday.
Hey, thanks.
Second off, these podcasts are really fun because us gamers get to talk about similar things we enjoy, and it's a nice way to discuss what we enjoy. Yeah, just
Yeah.
laid on to you guys. Yeah, hell yeah.
And Min, uh, the regular.
I
What do you
always
have to
reach in.
say?
Hey, I don't need to sign off for hers. That's a first.
Hey, hey.
Anyways, I'd like to thank Nathan for giving his time for us and joining us for this podcast. Wish you a happy birthday. Don't go crazy tonight.
Hey.
And yeah, hope you guys join for the next week.
Yeah. And
And check out Twitch TV/Tulky.
He sold out for me.
So what the heck, man? You got free advertisement.
I did sell out the podcast channel. But I mean, like, this is the podcast. So,
man.
yeah, live streams at 10 or 2. 10, if it's 10, it's probably just me and Min, because Harris doesn't wake up that early. 2, you might have us all together like this again. Uploads are on Sunday. I don't want to say the YouTube link again, because I just said it. If you enjoy hearing from us, then check that out. If you enjoy hearing from us as well as other people like Nathan, and maybe some more guest appearances, you can check Min's stream, which was plugged, or mine, because we do play a lot together.
Hey.
But the more regular times we play, we had our first board game night on stream yesterday.
That was lit.
So we'll try and see if we can get more of those as well. So you can check those out at the same Twitch channel that you're watching this now. Or if you're listening to this, then it is my personal Twitch channel, Bluewing54.
Hey. There's no
Plug
way
at the
around
end.
it.
That's how you do
That
it.
was smooth. That was smooth.
There you go. Yeah. Just want to keep in mind for everyone that we are constantly trying to up the quality for this, doing more research before we talk, as well as getting more out for the video podcasts, such as naming topics, maybe start doing timestamps. It's a lot more work, but it is much better viewing experience, so we'll try and do that for you guys.
And
as
we
well.
definitely got more chill. I feel getting used to it.
Sure.
All right then.
me and Win were fine. It's just
It's
just
me,
Harris.
yo.
Harris with the interruptions.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's wrap this up.
That's a wrap. Yep. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.